Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Cowork Dilemma and says, my 31 female husband, 33 male of 4 years, has a weird relationship with his pregnant coworker, 23 female. I'm not sure if I should be worried or not. My husband has worked with Kelsey for the last 2 years, and I never thought anything about their relationship was strange until now. For the past 5 months, the amount of time that has lapsed since my husband found out that Kelsey was pregnant has gone out of his way to support her in a way that makes me uncomfortable. I might be able to understand his actions if they weren't so extreme, but they mostly strike me as downright strange and out of character for him. For one, when he found out she was pregnant, he came to me and asked if he could give her $1,000 to help with some of her expenses. He said that Kelsey's baby's father was out of the picture and she was struggling. I don't know Kelsey personally, but I can sympathize with her situation. I agreed to let him write her a check for $250. I did think this was odd though, because my husband has never been all that charitable. I've never known him to be the type of person that goes out of his way to help a coworker or a stranger, but whatever. A few weeks later, my husband came to me and again asked me if we could help Kelsey out. This time he wanted to buy a pram for Kelsey. The one he had picked out was quite expensive, so I wasn't comfortable with just giving him the okay. We spent about a week discussing it before we finally agreed to purchase a cheaper one for her. This came after he asked her if the second one would be okay. I took this opportunity to ask him how much more money he wanted to spend on Kelsey and her baby. We'd already spent $500 on them at this point, and I was starting to get concerned. We had a fight about this where he accused me of being selfish. He said that he was trying to do a good deed for someone and that he thought I would be happy to support a young mother-to-be like Kelsey and her baby. I did feel a little guilty afterwards, so I backed off. Fast forward to last week, I found out after the fact that my husband had bought a $150 gift card to Babies R Us for Kelsey as a Christmas present. We had another fight about how much money he's spending on her and her baby, and again, he accused me of being stingy. I asked him how much more he planned to spend, and he told me that he didn't know. I asked him if he could see how the situation could make me uncomfortable and how it might lead me to think something was going on between them. He said that he was disappointed that I would think his good deed was anything other than him trying to help a coworker. He's been giving me the silent treatment since that fight and making passive-aggressive comments, which is frustrating. I can't get him to understand that my concerns are legitimate. Besides, it's not like we have the ability to keep spending this kind of money on Kelsey. In addition to spending money, my husband has also spent a lot of time helping Kelsey in other ways. He spent time fixing up things around her apartment before the baby comes and doing other odd jobs for her. All this makes me extremely uncomfortable, but anytime I bring it up, he accuses me of trying to stop him from helping someone in need of assistance or being greedy. He won't acknowledge what I think is very worrisome behavior. At this point, I wonder what I'm supposed to do. I think he really is trying to do a good deed, but part of me worries that something else is happening. I don't want to believe he would cheat on me. He's never given me a reason to suspect this, but I can't help but wonder sometimes, especially when he's gone with Kelsey to an Obgyn appointment on 2 occasions, though he claimed it was because she needed a ride. Does he have a point? Am I being selfish for hassling him over helping Kelsey? How should I try to get him to understand his behavior is making me uncomfortable? I'm not sure how I should handle this situation. Nothing seems to be working. As time's gone on, I'm always a bit worried to have a jumping conclusion on this kind of thing, because I always get some comments that says, Mark, you've read one too many Reddit stories, you fucking dreamer. But I've got to come out with it. It just feels like that's his baby. I feel like, you can be nice and help someone, but $1,000 straight away that he wants to give her to help her with some of her expenses. He's going round and helping her, taking her to Obgyn appointments, Babies R Us vouchers, the pram. Has no end date when he's going to stop giving this money over. And there was a lot of comments saying that that's his baby, so I'm going to avoid those. I'm going to go for Yetkins, who says, does Kelsey even know you exist? She's definitely pregnant with your husband's child. The only questions are, has he been lying to her about his marital status? And are you going to make him truthful when he tells women 10 plus years younger than him he's single? Opie says, I don't know. I always assumed she knew I existed. Oil Crypt Bot Thing says, I don't know how you haven't asked him if he's the father at this point. This is just really weird behavior. It'd be one thing if you guys had kids of your own and were done with babies, so he was just offering up anything you had in good condition that you would have otherwise donated. But he's taken a very active role in her pregnancy. I don't know how you found out why, because he doesn't want to tell you. OP says, I asked him if anything was going on between them, but he basically denied it. I didn't ask him if he was the father because I think I'm scared that he might say yes. A deleted user says most likely scenarios are 1. He's the father of the baby, 2. His feelings for her, 3. She's blackmailing him for something. The Relax says, under normal circumstances I wouldn't do this, but I would cut all the bullshit and contact Kelsey directly. Your husband clearly isn't being honest. He hid the gift card from you, and he thinks he's getting away with it by trying to make you feel like you're being greedy. If you confront him, he's going to continue making you feel like you're crazy. That's called gaslighting. I'd love to think there's an innocent explanation for this, but no one I've ever known has spent over $50 on a coworker's baby, let alone $750, and has plans to spend more. I would seriously say to her, is my husband the father of your baby? He's gone with you to your appointments, helped set up your apartment, and given you $750. That's a lot of money and time spent on someone who is only a coworker. So I'm sure you can understand my concern. Miranda Clegg says, it is extremely weird. If my husband even suggested giving any money to anyone I did not personally know and have a relationship, the answer would be a firm no. Find out now. Don't waste a dollar more. Your concerns are more than just justified. You aren't greedy. Why would the household income go towards an unwed mother? What sort of parasite leech would take money from a man she works with? Too many alarm bells ringing here. One more comment from Chewed Gummy Bears who says, everything points at this being his baby. Probably conceived during work hours. Our co-workers do this, so it is possible. I'd request he introduce you to Kelsey, then meet with her without him, knowing at a later time, and be honest and direct with her. The fact he is invested in her fetus without you even being involved in the process is a large red flag. Pursuing the truth before he gets too comfortable and empties your bank account on her. Damn, that comment saying, happening within work hours and they've seen it themselves. It reminded me of when I worked for a company, I'm not going to say which company, a while back, and there was rumors going around about 2 of the researchers who were getting together in the toilets at certain hours. Another co-worker took it upon themselves to record some noises, shall we say, and send it to the guy's wife. Ooh-wee. And then it all spilled out over onto Facebook and all this kind of thing. That was a crazy couple of weeks. But anyway, OP did update the post. They said, since many of you asked for an update and you were kind enough to offer advice, I've decided to give one. The first thing I did after making my initial post was to confront my husband directly again. I asked him point blank if he was so involved with Kelsey's pregnancy because he was the father of her child. He denied it. I asked him to introduce me to Kelsey since he'd given her money that belonged to both of us. When I mentioned this, he got very defensive and accused me of being insecure. I responded by saying that I at least had the right to know the person I was helping and that he shouldn't have a problem with me meeting Kelsey if nothing was going on between them. He then told me that he wasn't going to introduce us and that I needed to work on my jealousy issues. I decided to contact Kelsey the next day. I found her, or at least the woman I thought was her, through a mutual friend's Facebook page. I sent her a message telling her who I was. I explained to her why I was concerned about her relationship with my husband and requested that she please let me know if she was having my husband's baby. She sent me a very nasty message back. I will spare you many of the details. The basic gist was that I was an old and unattractive and unable to satisfy my husband, so he found someone better, i.e. Kelsey. Among other things, she claimed that the baby was my husband's and that he was planning to leave me but felt sorry for me and couldn't bring himself to do it. She ended the message by telling me that I should let him go so they could be together. It hurt a lot to read that message. It still hurts me to think about it. I confronted my husband that same night. I showed him the message. He got really quiet and admitted that she was telling the truth, but denied telling her all of the horrible things she said about me. He said it, getting her pregnant, was a mistake, and he was only trying to do the right thing by her and the baby. He denied that they were sleeping together and said he wanted to stay with me and have a baby with me. I have no idea if either of these things are true. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Everything happened so fast. A couple of days have passed now and I'm still thinking things over. He He wants us to go to counseling to try and work through this, but I don't think I'm interested in working on our marriage. It would be hard for me to get past this if he had cheated, but the fact that he was having a child with this woman makes it harder. If I stay with him, she's always going to be in our lives. I've thought about waiting until we can do a paternity test to make a final decision, but I don't know if I want to do that either. It may be easier if I just make the change now. I've started looking for divorce attorneys. Most of my family and friends have told me I need to get out of this marriage, and each day I get closer to making that move. I just need a bit more time before I'm ready to make a decision. Absolutely get out of that situation. Like you say, your lives are going to be tied up with this person for God knows how many years to come. Why would you want to be a part of that when you can just go and be free and enjoy your life once again away from someone who's willing to cheat on you? And speaking of the cheating, I always try to think of it like from all the different points of view as well, just for my own perspective, if you like. And I'm thinking about Kelsey, who's, saying to OP that you're old, unattractive, unable to satisfy the husband, and so he found someone better. Doesn't it go through her mind that he's cheating on his wife? Ain't gonna stop him from cheating on you as well. Does she truly just believe that she's better than everyone else and, he's not willing to cheat on her as well? And this cheeky bastard only comes back and says, let's try and make this work. We can have a baby together. Oh, fuck. What an absolute Burke. I do truly hope that OP did move on from this person. They truly deserve better in life. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Vacation Woes 99 and says, my 29 male, very rich girlfriend, 25 female, of 8 months wants to pay for an expensive vacation for the both of us. I don't feel comfortable accepting. Some relevant background info. I make a very good living myself and earn slightly over 6 figures and come from a basic middle class family. I live a comfortable life and manage my money wisely. My girlfriend of 8 months comes from a very rich family, like 0.1% rich. Salary wise, she makes less than half of what I make, but receives an allowance from her family's business every month. She doesn't even touch her salary and says it gets accumulated into her savings account. She lives off her monthly allowance from her family's business. Relationship wise, we are very compatible so far. I really like her and she likes me. She told me about her family's wealth about 4 months into the relationship when she felt safe and comfortable with me. Up until now, we split our expenses and dates 50-50. Recently, we talked about going on a vacation and we decided on Western Europe since I've never been there. I think vacations are a good test of the relationship and help move the relationship forward. I can afford the trip on my own if we go the normal route, where we book economy tickets to fly and look for Airbnb and hotel deals. She wants to fly first class and stay in a 4 to 5 star hotel. The difference in rates between Airbnb and lower end hotels versus 4 to 5 star hotels is staggering to say the least, without getting into the airfare. I told her that I simply could not afford that and she offered to pay for me. She said I could pay her what I would have spent on economy class airfare tickets plus hotels in my range, and she will simply pay the difference. This makes me uncomfortable. As generous as her offer is, I don't think I'm at the stage of the relationship where I can accept such a huge gift from someone. The difference according to my calculations will be over 3k and could be as much as 5k once we actually book. That's simply too much for me to accept. I want to politely decline her offer and see if we can work out a compromise. Now, from me in this situation, it sounds like girlfriend is easily able to afford this. She's probably not even thinking about how much it is going to cost. She just wants you to be with her, to have fun on a vacation. And I think she was pretty fair about it and saying, you just pay what you usually pay and I'll cover the difference. I think regardless of what stage you get to in your relationship, there's likely to always be this money difference, if you like. But someone asks OP, they say, legendary Dick, should I say, asks OP, can you explain why it makes you uncomfortable? Do you have trouble receiving gifts? Would it be totally comfortable and appropriate if you had been together 8 years instead of 8 months? Do you suspect she might be the kind of person who would hold this over your head in the future? OP says, sure, I will explain more. For one, yes, I'd be more comfortable if we were together for 8 years instead of 8 months. I want to be clear and mention that I don't think she's the type of person that would hold it over me. My issue comes from the fact that it's simply too large of a gift. For her, it may mean nothing, but for me, given my background, 3 to 5k is a pretty large sum. So far, we've been splitting everything 50-50. I do agree that it might be my insecurities, but I'm just not comfortable with such a grand gesture. We cover a lot of stories about who contributes more in terms of money towards bills and household expenses and stuff like that, and the general consensus we always get, and usually what comes out is fair, you contribute a percentage amount that's relevant to your wage and how much you bring in. But Casper Boy says, accept and do so with gratitude. We all bring different things to a relationship, and money is just one of those things. Enjoy the experience and grow as a couple. I'm sure there are things that you give her that money can't buy, and you should rest assured that she appreciates them more than money. My girlfriend does social type work, helping opioid addicted pregnant and new mothers. It's important work but pays like shit, so I carry the big chunk of our expenses as I have a low 6-figure job. But she contributes in other ways and is very appreciative of everything I do. Occasionally, she's been able to pitch in and help pay a little on a trip, since we love to travel and do so often. The memories are more important than spending money on stuff. So OP does update the post, and they say, first of all, I want to thank you to everyone who contributed to my last post. I never expected it to blow up the way it did and get that many replies. After a while, the number of responses got overwhelming and I was unable to reply to many of the later posts and/or questions. I do want to clarify a few things which kept coming up in the last post. The situation for me has absolutely nothing to do with gender expectations or anything like that. That's just not who I am. I suppose I should have expected that response from this sub, given so many of the posts are about cheating, abusive partners, or people confused with gender stereotypes, etc. With that out of the way, I should have clarified that in my original post that I'm not a big gift receiver in general. I feel uncomfortable even when my parents, friends, or other family members splurge on me. I also want to point out that people kept on bringing up scaling of money, in that $200 for me has the same value that 5k has for her. Yes, that's fine in theory, but it can still be hard to comprehend in real life when I've never had that kind of money splurged on me or lived in such a high-class lifestyle. It's easier said than done when people are urging me to accept her proposal with grace. Anyway, here goes the actual update. Before posting my last post, I had already decided that I was going to turn her down, and I wanted to get advice on how to politely turn her down. After listening to the good people of this sub, I opened my mind a little and decided to have a talk with her about our relationship, her money, and our finances moving forward with an open mind. She came over last night after work and we talked about her proposal. I told her I was incredibly thankful for her offer, but in all honesty it did make me uncomfortable. I explained to her that it was because of my middle class background and the fact that I'm not a big gift receiver in general. She cut me off right then and there and said she was sorry if she made me feel uncomfortable, and she was only coming from a good place. She revealed to me that growing up, she even had feelings similar to mine because she viewed everything as her family's money, and only after she matured later on in life did she start to not feel bad about her wealth and privilege, and simply started enjoying it for what it is. She told me she has a standing offer from her father to work a cushy job in the family business, but still does understand the value of money, and that's why she still works on her own. We then talked about her family's wealth and the impact it had on her past relationships. She told me that usually she's never offered to do something this big for anyone else, but she only offered this because she really trusts me, respects me, and has fallen for me hard. She mentioned that in her last relationship, she kept everything 50-50 because she wasn't sure about the guy, and their relationship got very toxic by the end because he simply expected her to pay for everything. She says she loves my ambition and wants me to keep progressing in my career. All that being said, I asked her what it would mean for our relationship going forward if I accepted. We both decided that nothing changes. We keep on splitting it 50-50 as we have so far. She joked that she wouldn't let me off the hook for future dates and expenses this easily, lol. For any future trips and activities, we decided that we won't always go for the most expensive options or the most budget friendly ones and try to find a bit more of a middle ground. Ultimately, she insisted that because she had already made the offer, I had to accept. I did, with the compromise being that once we are there, we're going to split everything else 50-50. She will let me treat her a few times, and we won't be splurging the way she's used to on vacations. I'm really thankful that this happened, and we both feel closer than ever. She'll be coming over on Friday to spend the weekend with me and plan/book this trip. I couldn't be happier right now. That bloody cheeky communication coming in here and winning the day once again. I absolutely love to see it from both sides as well, especially OP's girlfriend opening up about their past and their insecurities around their family's money as well. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved in it. It's absolutely incredible, and I'm always blown away by your support. Thank you. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.